So, hey guys, I'm Abby. I'm really excited to just sit and talk to y'all about a topic that I feel is very important. Maybe not right now in this season of your life, but I feel it definitely will be a season in your life later if it hasn't already been. And that is finding stress and anxiety and just that feeling of being overwhelmed by so many things and finding peace about it and just being still for God to move and provide all that you need. That would be energy, joy, anything you've lost that stress and anxiety has stolen from you. And so this is really relatable to me right now because I'm a freshman in college. I just started school at the King's University in Southlake. Total blessing. I am so happy. I am so happy right where I'm at. And I've gotten to meet a lot of new people. I've gotten to learn a lot of things that have been so beneficial and fruitful to me in my walk with the Lord, as well as a musician and being a worship leader. And it's just been a blessing all around. It's been great. And along with that, though, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, like either starting college or just being in school in general, like whether it's high school or middle school or whatever, that sometimes we can get overwhelmed by the homework that our teachers make us do. That is for our own good, by the way, even though we don't want to do it. Or if you're like me, for example, I like to say yes to everything. Like if you ask me to go, I don't know. Like my friend Caitlin just asked me this past summer. I've never done any sort of counseling at any camp in my life ever. And she asked me this summer to go help or volunteer at this camp and counsel these kids that have been through abuse and just in poor living conditions. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And I've never done anything like that before. So that was an example. It's just like if you like to say yes to everything that's thrown at you, you don't like to say no, you just like to be involved, you like to meet new people, and you're like me, then that can kind of be overwhelming sometimes. And it doesn't mean you don't want to do it and be involved in things. A lot of times we want to be involved, and so we say yes, and at times one more thing is thrown at us that we're like, oh my gosh, I would love to be a part of that, but it's kind of going to add to it and I'll be tired. But you say yes anyways because you don't want to hurt the person's feelings and say no, or because you just want to be involved, And that doesn't mean that you don't want to do it. It just means that it's probably not your time to do it, or it's not the best for your condition and that in that season. And so it can be homework, it can be saying yes, which is what I would call everything I just explained. It can be being in that new environment if you're in college and it's your first year, of meeting new people, of being independent, away from home. It can be a lot of things that probably can't come to my head right now. But all those things can, when we feel like they're thrown onto us all at once at a time, then it can be really stressful or bring upon us stress and anxiety. And that is not healthy at all, man. Like, the Lord has called us to bring others to Him first and foremost. And by doing that, if we're not taking care of ourselves first, then we can't take care of others. You know what I mean? So luckily, I just went to a conference. Actually, I've been hearing the word Sabbath and rest and peace. I've been hearing those three, a lot more Sabbath, but I have been hearing those three words so much the past few weeks, and I know it's not a coincidence. It's God. I've been hearing them so much for the past 2 weeks, and fortunately, I was able to go to the Gateway Conference in, I need to wear my glasses, in September. And Pastor Robert Morris spoke at one of the sessions. I don't remember which one. And, well, what do you know? His sermon was about the danger of stress. And I'm gonna, if y'all want, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'll have to talk to Dylan about it. But I can probably upload some sort of picture or document with these notes on there if y'all want to jot them down, because I know they were helpful to me. And I took a few notes, so I'm just going to kind of read through them and then talk about them for a bit. So he spoke about the danger of stress and literally working yourself to death sometimes, because so this can be related, because this video is like for everyone, man. It's not just for people that are in college or high school, or this is for all ages. So I've known adults that are literally workaholics and can work themselves to death, like to where if your emotional state is not healthy, then it actually literally affects your physical state. So if you're stressed, if you're sad, if you're just randomly finding yourself with these breakdowns, then that'll physically cause harm to your body, and you're not going to die. I mean, hopefully you won't, but you could literally work yourself to death. And he touched on taking the day off as being a command in Exodus 16:23-29. And I'm just going to kind of abbreviate. I'm not really going to read the whole thing, but how God talks about his commandments. One of them is, in a sense, a day of rest, Sabbath. So when God created the universe, he created in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth day, and on the seventh, God took a break. Now, I am sure that God did not need 6 days to create the things that he created. I am very well and certain that he could have created everything he wanted to create in an instant. You know what I mean? Like in an instant. God doesn't need 6 days to create what he wants to create. He can very well do it in a day, in an instant, in a minute. But he chose to organize it in what we know as a week. So it would be the first through the 6th day, and on the 7th day, God rested. God does not need rest. He doesn't even need sleep. You know what I mean, man? And he rested on the 7th day. This is a commandment. God made these weeks so that they're organized for us to have a day off. Now, it's been known or said, I guess, kind of assumed that our Sabbath is supposed to be on Sunday. Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, because if you're part of ministry, then Sunday, you very well know that Sunday is not your day of Sabbath. If you're doing worship, it's not your Sabbath day. You're kind of organizing a set list. You're trying to figure out who's on the team. You're going through rehearsal. If you're a pastor, you're setting out your plan, your game plan, and just different. If you're part of the congregation, you go to church. Not to say that that's not resting. It's very well beneficial and provides so much fruit to our lives, but it's just not for everybody is Sunday your Sabbath. It can be like Pastor Robert Morris said, but Pastor Robert Morris said that his Sabbath, I think he said, was Tuesday, which for some people, they're like, Tuesday's kind of a weird day, but it's just whatever day works in your schedule. So let's say you have school on, if you're in college, you have it on Monday through Wednesday. And then Fridays you have something to do, Saturday, Sunday. And so yours is on Thursday. It's just honestly whatever day of the week works for you personally in your schedule. Sabbath is just simply a day of rest. Now, to say that, it doesn't mean that if you're on your Sabbath day, that doesn't mean that you can't go out to the movies with buds, or you can't go out and do stuff with your family, or you can't, I don't know, just go out. No, Sabbath means you can do whatever you find peaceful and rejuvenating to your body. With that being said, you can say, oh, I love doing work because it keeps my schedule intact. No, God commands us not to do work on that day. You can hang out with friends, you can do this and that, but you shall not, you shouldn't work on that day. That means no homework. That means getting your homework done before that day. That means if you're at work and you have this, I don't know, thing you got to do before it, this document that you got to fill out, I don't know. You fill that out before your Sabbath or after, according to your schedule, and you do not work on your Sabbath, because you can't feed others if you're empty. You know what I mean? You need a day to just I'm sorry. to fill yourself up, to get rest, to get rejuvenated, to get that energy, to get a day for you, you know what I mean? And once you're filled up, then you can provide whatever it is that others need, whether that's comfort or joy or a smile or a hug or a word. You can provide that to others once you've had it on your day off. And God, in Numbers 15:34, to abbreviate, God takes it seriously. God is very serious about our rest, about a Sabbath, about us finding peace and being still. Because it's literally just kind of reiterating what I just said, but we cannot bless others if we are not blessed first. So one of my friends, actually, I don't know if y'all know Kylie Moore. It's kind of random. We were talking about something the other day, and she told me this. It's kind of like a visual that kind of helps me out. So if you're in a plane crash, gosh, that's awful. Well, the plane is crashing. It hasn't crashed yet. If you're gonna crash in a plane and you're just kind of before that, and you have to get your gas mask and put it on your face first in order for you to be able to help others out. If you don't have your gas mask on, then you're like literally going to harm yourself and not be able to do anything for another person sitting next to you. You know what I mean? So that visual kind of helped me illustrate a picture in my mind to remind me that if I don't put my gas mask on first and help myself first, I can't help others. And I can't do it to my full potential anyways. I mean, I guess you could technically help others, but you're not going to do it to your full potential. And if you can't do something to your full potential, then what's the point of it anyway? You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's not just like feeding ourselves and then just feeding others. I mean, it is, but in different senses. So like, if I'm not fully rested on a Saturday night before I lead worship on a Sunday, then on a Sunday I'm going to be so tired. My voice is going to be just totally wiped out, and I'm not going to be able to worship to my full capacity. Not to say that worship depends on your ability to do stuff, because it doesn't. But I definitely feel like if I'm worshiping God with all that is in me and in my full potential, then it's definitely the best I've got to give. You know what I mean? My heart, soul, everything. You can't fully lead others in a congregation to worship if you're not feeling it yourself and you're not pouring out enough. You know what I mean? So that's kind of an illustration. You can't go to work. You can't be a janitor and clean. If you're all tired, you're just going to want to get through it. You can't do your homework to your full potential, even though you know everything. If you're tired, you're just going to want to get through it. You know what I mean? So it is a commandment, and God does take it very, very seriously. Yeah, and then, so those were points. I'm just kind of going through the points. And again, like I said, I can probably post this somewhere. I'm not very sure. I'll figure it out. But my fifth point is that God made the Sabbath for our benefit in Mark 2:26. And everything's just kind of reiterating itself. It's kind of just effectuating my previous statement, but it's just kind of wanting me to get my point across that rest is so, so vital. And it is so crucial. I know that whenever somebody doesn't have enough rest, and I already said this, like, I keep repeating myself, I'm so sorry. This is all improvised. I've never kind of given a Devo before in my life. I just really felt this thing on my heart. But without it being said that you can't provide for others whenever you're not blessed, if you're not rested, it just kind of changes your mood, man. And that's a duh, like a wow, Abby, obviously. But if you're tired and you start your day grumpy and you start your day mad and you start your day negative, then how is that going to lead and set the start for a great day? And that's just talking for yourself. That's not me trying to say that if you start your day bad, you're not going to lead others into a good day. No, I'm talking about yourself, because sometimes you have to be a little selfish. And if you're just going to start your day all grumpy and mad and negative, nothing, even if you think you're being productive, nothing throughout your day is going to be poured into with a good heart. And it's so important that we do pour into things that we do, even the simplest things, with a good heart. If we're cooking a meal for someone, like simply breakfast, you want to do that with your whole heart and all the love in your heart, so that it shows and it's felt, and it means so much more than just something that we put into our bodies. You know what I mean? So I like to start my days, and I'm only human. Like, I do forget every now and then, or I'm just tired and stuff. But I do like to start my days most of the time with like waking up and just saying, or writing down my journal. If you do not have a journal, I highly recommend getting a journal. I love to write down, or sometimes just saying out loud. This is like the weirdest stuff ever. I'm so cheesy. But either just like waking up and saying something out loud that you're grateful for, or jotting one thing down every single day that you're grateful for. If you can think of one thing, and I'm sure you have many others, but if you can think of at least one thing that you're so grateful to God for, then it kind of sets things in perspective, and it sets a positive and loving and caring and thankful-hearted mood for the rest of your day. Oh my gosh, excuse me. And so I like to do that, and as well as waking up to that, if you go to bed, again, writing something down or saying out loud something that happened that day that you're super thankful for, that sets a mood for just you to have a peaceful night of rest. And not only do you say things out loud or write them down, but if this is like an obvious thing to say, but if you just don't stay out super late, and this is so hypocritical for me to say, or if you don't stay up all night, obviously going to bed at a good time, to wake up at a good time, is going to rest your body. Like, I don't know why I didn't say that before. That's not even in my notes, man. But if you just go to bed at a good time, conscious that you need that rest, that's gonna rejuvenate your body. Rest, this is my last point. And I have so many other notes from other sermons. I'm telling y'all that this past month, I've just gotten a lot of vision and heard a lot of people talking about rest. So I have a lot of notes if I can post them somewhere. And I just spoke about the Gateway Conference ones that Pastor Robert Morris talked about. But this is my last point, and it was a part of that rest must be scheduled. So not to say that you have an exact bedtime that you go to every night, because I know that's impossible for me, so it's probably impossible for y'all. But this just kind of shortens the idea of your 7th day Sabbath, that you say, okay, according to your schedule, every single Friday, I don't go to school Fridays, every single Friday I am going to set as my rest day. If somebody asks me to cover for them at work and they text me that day, I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, it's my day off and I'd really like to help you, but I can't. Or it's just, rest must be scheduled, because if you do not have a scheduled day for you to rest, then you're gonna always find an excuse not to rest. To not do it. You know what I mean? So it must be scheduled in the most polite and kind way, in a selfish way, but it's okay to be selfish sometimes. So yeah, like I said, if somebody asks you to cover for them at work, I'm sorry, I'm resting, it's my only day off. In the night, not like that, like in the nicest way possible, but you got to be a little selfish sometimes, but transmit it in the nicest possible way. So that was just kind of an example. It's just bottom line, rest must be scheduled. And with that said, I know this was kind of all over the place. I don't even know how long this video is. I'll have to look in a minute. But I really hope that this somehow poured into you and gave you and kind of helped you out, because I know that a lot of us like to hide being stressed sometimes, and we just like to act like we're okay, but it's so important to be vulnerable sometimes and intentional with who we talk to about our feelings, because we need to be poured into as well as pouring out. So I really hope that this was of some help to y'all if you're going through stress, or if maybe in the future you go through stress, you can come back to this video. Or if you see a friend, oh my goodness, a friend that's going through stress, this kind of helps you out with how to help them out. And this is like the most pure and helpful sort of medicine for us and peace, is just praying so much, praying for your friends that have been stressed lately, or just talking to God, because he's your buddy, you know, like, man, God, I'm so tired and I just need you to fill me up. I need you to, you know, just talking to him and having a relationship with God, and just constantly just reading, engaging in his word, and prayer is so spiritual, but it's just so effective to our physical body. And you can't have a relationship with someone that you don't talk to. You know what I mean? So I just encourage y'all to pray, and praying for others as well as praying for yourself and just talking to him. So I don't know how to end this. I really hope that this was beneficial to y'all and that it helped y'all and that y'all feel my love. And I'm gonna ask if we can put some sort of contact information on this website, because I would love to just send out random letters, like mail to you about like encouraging letters, or if you ever need prayer for anything, to just let me know. I tell my friends that all the time. So yeah, and I hope y'all have a great day.
Hey guys, Dylan here with Breakthrough Ministries, and thank you so much for Abby for sharing. That's such a great message, relieving stress, because, as college students and young adults, we stress a lot and stuff, but, thank you so much for sharing. And if you would like to share a message like that, like Abby did, go to the Breakthrough website, fill out the contact card, and let us know how you would like to be involved. And exciting news, in a couple weeks, we're going to release a cover of a worship song, acoustic style. I'm not going to tell you the song or who's doing it, but it's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for joining.